Coming up from the Aircraft Electronics Association convention in Nashville, a big step forward to a driver's license medical. The U.S. Senate is now taking up the bill. Flying could become a lot cheaper. AOPA launches a new program to help save you money. A new engine for the Sweepstakes Debonair, an accident you won't believe, and we're at the AEA convention in Music City, USA. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment. Hello and welcome to Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome to AEA 2014. We're coming to you from the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center, right next to the famous Ryman Auditorium, home of the Grand Ole Opry. We'll have some news from the exhibit hall in just a moment. But first, the move to expand the exemption from the third-class medical requirement is really gaining momentum in Congress. This week, Senators John Boozman, Pat Roberts, and Jerry Moran introduced a bill that would permit pilots to fly some certificated aircraft with just a valid driver's license instead of a medical certificate. The Senate bill mirrors the Rokita bill introduced earlier in the House.
You know, it's really important for our AOPA members to contact their members of Congress and their United States senators, urging their respective members of Congress who represent their areas to co-sponsor the bill, to sign on to the bill and show support. This creates a great amount of leverage for us with the FAA, and so we're willing to work with Congress, with the FAA, anything we can do to get this issue addressed for pilots across the United States.
You can read more about the bill on AOPA.org. There are more than 600 flying clubs in the U.S., but AOPA would like to see a lot more. So this week, the association released a new tool, AOPA's Guide to Starting a Flying Club. Executive producer Warren Morningstar explains why.
It's a way that we can express to the general public you can afford to fly for a couple, $200–300 a month and have a lot of friends out at the airport. And I think it's something that AOPA can do to the public to get them back out to the airport.
AOPA boss Mark Baker is passionate about flying clubs. He believes there's no better way to make flying affordable.
If I was at a flying club when it was necessary from financials and the family to stay flying, but to do it in a less expensive way, and by the way, it was a lot of fun too in the community. A lot of people I've met in flying clubs I still know today.
And the social element of a flying club is key to attracting people to aviation and maintaining their enthusiasm through the years.
It doesn't take long, though, after you start a flying club to realize that the real value of the club is the camaraderie of like-minded folks getting together, hanging out at the airport, and going flying on a nice day. Well, the Flying Club Starter Kit, Warren, is a product that's been in the making now for about a year. It's a 10-chapter guide on everything you need to know about starting a flying club. The reason we decided to develop the Club Starter Kit is in discussions with clubs over the past year or so. They've given us a number of items that are issues for them. And one of the biggest questions with people who are coming by our booths at shows and talking to us was that they wanted to start a flying club and had no idea how to begin.
And so the guide steps you through all the things you need to decide when forming a flying club, from incorporating to choosing an aircraft. A big issue for most flying clubs has been insurance, but AOPA has a solution for that.
We do have a insurance program that we're actually quite proud of. It was built with our AOPA insurance agency just a few months ago that offers a very attractive insurance program. Used to be that, you know, a partnership, very small partnership, 3, 4, 5 people, could get a good insurance rate. And then beyond that, it would jump right to commercial. And through our insurance agency, we've been able to smooth that out and make it a much more incremental and palatable increase as you build your club membership.
You can download AOPA's Guide to Starting a Flying Club from our website. There's more information there as well, including an online tool to help you find an existing flying club that you might want to join, and of course webinars. There's a Facebook page too.
To AOPA, the value of these clubs is to be able to get new pilots engaged with aviation, keep pilots that are already certificated involved and paying it forward in aviation. So I really do see that this is the future of the industry, is affordable flying in a social environment and building the pilot population, and beyond building the pilot population, certainly flying the aircraft that we have more hours per year.
Warren Morningstar, AOPA Live.
Thanks, Warren. Remember, you can find all of those Flying Club resources on AOPA.org. Click on the Pilot Resources tab at the top, then choose Flying Clubs. As we tape the broadcast on Wednesday afternoon, final preps are underway for the Aircraft Electronics Association 2014 convention. The exhibit floor is coming together nicely. AEA President Paula Dirks says things are looking good.
It's promising, kind of along with the same pattern of the economy for 2014. We're expecting about 1,500 people to descend upon Nashville this week.
A number of exhibitors?
Exhibitors, we have more than 130 exhibitors. Of those 130, we have 12 brand new company exhibiting this week as well. So we're excited about that. We're always excited about new exhibitors bringing in new avionics technologies and services.
We'll have more on the AEA convention in just a few minutes. AOPA is continuing its fight for justice and the rule of law against the Air and Marine Division of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. We've told you before that agents in the tan uniforms have been stopping and searching GA aircraft for no apparent reason. More than 50 stops that we know of. You can see some of the flights intercepted by the guys with guns and dogs on this map. Even Customs and Border Protection calls them zero suspicion stops. AOPA President Mark Baker has just fired off a letter to the newly confirmed CBP commissioner, reminding him that he had promised to review the agency's warrantless searches of GA pilots. Baker said that previous responses from CBP were cursory and vague and did not take pilots' concerns seriously. This time, AOPA is very serious, Mr. Commissioner. A bit of a setback for the FAA. An NTSB administrative law judge has ruled that the FAA's policies on commercial drone operations are not an enforceable rule. He dismissed the fine against the young man who flew this drone around the University of Virginia campus. The FAA got him for careless and reckless operation. He was paid for the photo flight. The FAA has appealed it. It says that the judge's decision could affect safe operations in the national airspace system and the safety of people on the ground. There's a big change coming to the National Transportation Safety Board. Chairman Deborah Hersman is stepping down. She's going to lead the National Safety Council. AOPA wishes her well and thanks the chairman for her nearly 10 years of service at NTSB. Well, coming up after the break, an airplane hits a skydiver, and it's all caught on camera. Your Debonair gets a new engine, and more from the AEA convention in Nashville when we come back. You're watching AOPA Live this week. Welcome back to the Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville, home of AEA 2014. You're watching AOPA Live this week. Take a look at this. Two men are lucky to be alive. A pilot doing touch and goes hits a skydiver. It all happened in Lakeland, Florida. These pictures are from the Polk County Sheriff, and they tell the story well. The airplane got tangled in the chute lines. The Cessna and the skydiver both fell to the ground. Remarkably, neither was seriously injured. This goes to show you should always check for skydiving activity when you're flying. Well, there are lots of new avionics on display here at the AEA convention. Some new apps as well. Our own app, AOPA FlyQ EFB, just got a major new release, 1.3.
With FlyQ 1.3, this is the biggest release we've ever done. We listened to what customers wanted. We added in extended runways with the right pattern. We did approach plates on the map. We enhanced the way that we do many things in the product. X-plane support. We added a scratch pad. We were very busy for the last few months. When we designed FlyQ EFB, the goal was to do it in fewer clicks to get to any piece of information you have. No more than 2 clicks, we call it the rule of 2, should be required to get to all the key info you like. Plus, most people really like features like the split screen mode, the ability to look at 3D synthetic vision on the map, the fact that we support 5 different ADS-B receivers. These are really the reasons why people tell us they love FlyQ EFB.
You can find out more about FlyQ EFB for your iPad or iPad mini on AOPA.org. It's under the Flight Planning tab. And you can get a demonstration of more of the features on AOPALive.org and the Technology channel. While the number of portable devices such as FlyQ is growing, the amount pilots are spending on panel systems is also on the rise. Here at the show, AE unveiled its 2013 year-end avionics market report. The report combines sales data from 22 companies providing avionics to just the general aviation marketplace. And the news is good.
This year, I'm pleased to report we're going to be up 6.9% in total avionics sales when you compare the participating manufacturers from 2012 to 2013. That represents a figure of a little more than $2.4 billion in avionics sales.
Of that $2.4 billion in sales, about 46% went to the aftermarket for installation in legacy aircraft, providing local jobs at small airports across the country. It's quite an economic impact. Hey, and speaking of technology, pilots aren't the only ones trying to get their heads around ADS-B. The FAA has mandated it by 2020 for nearly all aircraft flying in controlled airspace. At the AEA convention this week, Free Flight Systems presented an ADS-B training session for avionics dealers and installers. And just like pilots, they need to know how the system works, as well as how to install, configure, and troubleshoot the avionics. Your AOPA Sweepstakes Debonair has a new power plant. Take a look.
Well, here we are at Aero Engines of Winchester, where the new engine is going to be installed. As you can see, the bad old engine is gone, the old 225 horsepower engine. And in its place, we're having a conversion made to a 260 horsepower IO470N engine that was completed by Genesis Engines by DeShannon Aviation. And the Director of Operations, John Clegg, here has been in charge of that whole project, putting more horsepower and a much more efficient engine in this airplane.
This engine has internal components that have been treated with coatings that limit both friction and corrosion, which means that it will fly longer and stronger than your average engine. It's more efficient, too. To make for better cooling and even combustion, the air and fuel flows into and out of the cylinders have been matched.
These are vastly different than the original cylinders, as you're well aware. They're much larger, a lot more cooling area. Then with our baffling kit, which is all this material here, we get a much more consistent cooling. All the cylinders tend to be the same. We don't have any hot spots or spikes.
Next up, the actual installation, a test run, and a 45-minute first flight to check for any potential issues. After that, it's off to Sun and Fun for its debut. Tom Horn, AOPA Live.
Thanks, Tom. That extra horsepower will be a big boost for that airplane. AOPA is honored to be able to support Able Flight through a donation from the AOPA Foundation. Able Flight provides flight training for people with physical disabilities. You may remember this video from former Marine Andrew Kinnard. He learned to fly after losing both legs while serving in Iraq. Able Flight's executive director is Charles Stites. He says the program helps people gain a confidence they may have lost.
It is a powerful tool to change lives, to learn to fly, because people become self-reliant, and that's really the purpose of our program, is to increase someone's self-confidence and self-reliance, and you're never going to be more self-reliant than you are when you're in the cockpit of an airplane by yourself.
The AOPA Foundation made an $8,000 contribution. That's the cost of one full scholarship. This is the second of 3 years that AOPA is committed to being a part of this wonderful program. The money comes in part from your contribution to the AOPA Foundation. Coming up next week on our program, we'll have much more from the Aircraft Electronics Association convention. Barely scratched the surface this week since things don't really get underway until tomorrow. We've got Mike Collins on the latest developments in ADS-B. Paul Harrop is looking at in-flight entertainment systems. And I'll have all the big news from the show. Be sure to join us for that. Till then, I'm Tom Haynes. Thanks for watching AOPA Live this week from AEA in Nashville.